chat, how are you? Hello chat. Hello, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm so happy to see you guys here. Oh god, I have so much to say, like right off the bat, and I know I'm gonna forget something. Well, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, welcome. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Let's get the big thing out of the way. I am sorry I forgot to stream yesterday. I genuinely feel so guilty about it. This week was finals week for me. I had two finals. I had one today and I had one on Tuesday. And separately from my finals, like all of my classes are done. So my whole schedule this week has been totally different from my schedule the last like 3 months. And I think the huge changes in my schedule kind of threw me off, and I literally forgot to stream last night, and I didn't remember until I woke up this morning to a text message from Cry at like 11 o'clock last night. He was like, "Are you gonna stream?" I was like, oh no, I forgot to stream. And then I looked at the day, I was like, no, yesterday was my 1 year stream anniversary. To the date, it was my 1 year stream anniversary. Legitimately heartbroken. So sad that I forgot. However, it's okay because I'm here now. I'm making up for it. We're gonna be okay. It is my 1 year stream anniversary. I have come so far since then. I posted about it a little bit on Instagram. My first stream was May 4th going into 5th last year. It was a Minecraft stream. I got my first follower ever that day, and I was so nervous, and it's so funny because coming on here today, I was also really nervous, and sometimes I do get really nervous before stream, but I feel like I get really I'm really hyper and anxious in the beginning, and then I chill out, and then we get into the groove of things as stream goes on, and we're good. We're 84 followers now, which is so crazy. Thank you. I'm affiliated now. I'm a Twitch affiliate. I have these cool animated panels instead of the hand-drawn ones. I have a VTuber. Oh my god, speaking of VTuber. Come on, I have her pulled up. Where is she? I might have to... There she is! I'm a VTuber now, which is super cool. I've had so much change over the last year. And I'm very grateful for everyone who's come with me along the way. Thank you, especially to Cry and to, she changed her name recently. Let me see what it is, because I forget. Linnea VT, formerly known as My Rice X. Miss Linnea, I hope I'm saying that right. Princess Linnea, sorry, I hope I'm saying that right. You're beautiful and you're wonderful, and I definitely wouldn't be where I am without you either. And then, of course, my lovely Eminem Bunny. I love all three of you so, so much, and I 100% would not be the streamer I am without you, so thank you. And I look forward to another year of growing with you guys. Not to be sappy, but I can't wait to see where I am this time next year. And also, another new thing. Oh, let me itch my eye. Hold on. Okay, I itched it. I have another new thing on my channel. If you go to like my about page, where my panels are, and you scroll all the way down right next to the panel where you can donate, there is a new panel where you can, it says something about like throne gifts. Click on the picture and it will take you to a website called Throne Gifts, or Throne, I don't know, one or the other. And it has a wish list of items that I put on there. I only have a couple on there right now, but essentially what it is you can go on there and you can see any of the things that I put on my wish list and buy me things off of my wish list. It's safe and private for both me and you. I don't see your information, you don't see my information. You can also recommend gifts to me, so if you see something and you're like, oh, Sleepy would love this, Sleepy would love this, you can take that link and you can go onto Throne and suggest it, and I can like approve or deny it, and you can send it to me. So if you would like to support me in a way that is not donating, following, subscribing, you know, that's just another way you can do it. I only have a couple things on there right now because I haven't paid super close attention. I've got like some hair clips, some jewelry, some makeup. I'm working on adding some stuff for my actual gaming setup. So currently what I have for there is new headphones, better headphones than the ones I have, and like a little comfy chair thing because I have kind of a crappy office chair, and it would be nice to just have like a little cushion thing on there to sit, you know, because I'm a princess and I deserve to sit on something pink and fuzzy, as we all do. If I have it set up correctly, which I can't promise that I do, but I'm pretty sure I do. If I have it set up correctly, when you purchase something off of my wish list on Throne, it will show up as a notification on stream, and it will also show up, like it'll send out a tweet on my Twitter, like a thank you tweet. So that's just another cool thing. I think it's super cool. I want to say Cry and Linnea were the ones who showed it to me and were like, you should try this out. So I figured, why not? Am I right? Okay, anyway, Sleepy has no eyes. That's incorrect. Arms, I mean. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of true. There is this thing. Hey, Sleepy, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go skate for a while. Okay, have fun skating. That's like a super random thing, but I hope you have fun skating. What was I gonna say? Oh, there is this thing you can get to make your VTuber like have arms that move around. But it can be a little janky. I know Linnea's tried it. I've seen it can be a little janky. The device itself is super expensive. It's like $100+. And it's a little janky. But if I could figure it out, that'd be sick. That'd be so sick. Maybe someday I'll have arms. Today is not the day though. I also so I kind of talked about it a little bit. This week was my finals week, and my last final was today, which means my semester is officially over. I'm not going to say yet that I'm going to be doing more streams. My goal is to continue with the Thursday streams for surezies. I might add back in my Tuesday streams depending on how I'm feeling and what I end up doing. But I'm hoping to be relatively productive this summer with not just streaming, but like things related to streaming. If you don't know, I have a TikTok now. It's just YnisSleepy. I've posted 2 TikToks. My goal is to, over the summer, start working to create more TikToks to post on there. And I want to maybe update my VTuber model a little bit. Kind of make her a little bit more, maybe a little more anime girly. Ooh, a little more anime. Ooh, ooh. Those are just a couple of the things that I'm thinking about that I want to do. Not 100% yet, but now that we've got all that out of the way. Today, we are going to be playing Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. If you've been here for a very long time, I'm pretty sure Doki Doki Literature Club was one of the first, if not the very first, Let's Plays that I've ever done. Do I call it a Let's Play or should I just call it a playthrough? I guess I don't know what the difference is. Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Doki Doki Literature Club, like the original one, is one of the first playthroughs I've ever done on my Twitch channel. However, not too long after I finished that, actually, they came out with Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, which has a bunch of new side stories with the characters. It helps build on the characters' personalities a little bit, and it has a lot more just content to it, which is so exciting. It's such a cute and crazy, intense, weird game. It's a really good game. So if you've not seen me play it, I know a lot of you have not been around long enough to see me play it. If you haven't, you're gonna see now. I'm doing this. We're still playing Life is Strange 2. I do want to say that I'm not like putting that off to the side. I want to have both of these games kind of going at the same time. That way we're not stuck, because both of them seem to be kind of lengthy games. That way we're not stuck doing like Life is Strange for 3 months straight, you know, with nothing else. Give it a little break between. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. It did seem to be working pretty decently earlier, so I'm hoping I can keep my Vroid open for stream today. Ooh! Hello? Hello? Oh, should I move my lady back down to where she belongs, or should I stay up in the upper left corner like Markiplier, or should I move back down to my lower left corner where I'm usually at? There's text at the bottom, so maybe I'll stay in the upper corner for now, and then we'll kind of see. This is such an interesting and neat, like load-in screen. It's true, it is 11:08 p.m. right now. Also, friends, there is a setting on here. If you're not familiar with Doki Doki Literature Club at all, it seems super cute. However, there are some dark themes to it, some jump scares and stuff. There is an option in the Plus game for me to have trigger warnings come up, like trigger warnings implemented into the game as they're coming up, which I feel like might be helpful for avoiding spoilers, first of all, by giving the trigger warnings ahead of time, and also because I've never played this game before in this way, so I might not be able to warn you. Do we want to keep those on, or do we want to raw dog it? Do we have preferences? Does anyone have preferences? Ooh, I got a sudden headache in my forehead. You know when you get your head throb for like 2 seconds, and then it goes away? Okay, it's gone now. That's okay. I have it turned on currently. This game does... I want to say this game asked if I was 18 plus. It is probably better suited for those of us that are. Just to let you know, there are some dark themes. If it's similar to the last game, there are going to be themes of, like, look, let's call it mental health issues. There are going to be themes of mental health issues. That's going to be the big one. There's going to be jump scares, derealization, stuff like that. So just be wary. I'm going to leave the trigger warnings on as they are for now. And hopefully this is good. This is cool. They have them separated out. So let's play. Let's start with just the typical DDLC. Ah, the familiar music. They're so cute. Let me adjust the audio some. Ah, it's so loud for me. Okay, there we go. Look at all my beautiful ladies. Oh, I remember the other thing it said in the opening when I first opened the game that it's not showing now. It does say, assume that all characters in this game are over the age of 18. So as we're playing, keep that in mind. New game. Okay. Actually, let's just be sleepy. Sleepoo. Well, you know, we're sleepoo. We're gonna be sleepoo. Should I do... When I first did this game, I did voices. Should I do voices? I don't even remember what they sounded like. Oh, I don't remember what the voices sounded like. I'll try. If it's too cringy, I'll stop. Hey! I see an annoying girl running towards me from the distance, waving her arms in the air like she's totally oblivious to any attention she might draw to herself. That girl is Sayori, my neighbor and good friend since we were children. You know, the kind of friend you'd never see yourself making today, but it just kind of works out because you've known each other for so long. We used to walk to school together on days like this, but starting around high school she would oversleep more and more frequently, and I'd get tired of waiting up. But if she's gonna chase after me like this, I almost feel better off running away. However, I just sigh and idle in front of the crosswalk and let Sayori catch up to me. I overslept again! But I caught you this time! Maybe, but only because I decided to stop and wait for you. You say that like you were thinking about ignoring me. That's mean, Sleepoo. Well, if people stare at you for acting weird, then I don't want them to think we're a couple or something. I'm too sexy for that. Fine, fine. But you did wait for me after all. I guess you don't have it in me to be mean if you wanted to. Have it in you to be mean even if you wanted to. Holy crap. Whatever you say, Sayori. We cross the street together and make our way to school. As we draw near, the streets become increasingly speckled with other students making their daily commute. By the way, Sleepoo, have you decided on a club to join yet? A club? I told you already, I'm not interested in joining any clubs. I haven't been looking either. That's not true. You told me you would join a club this year. Did I? I'm sure it's possible that I did in one of our many conversations where I dismissively go along with whatever she's going on about. I kind of seem like an asshole. Sayori seems really sweet and I'm just being like, nah. She's so annoying. Sayori likes to worry a little too much about me, when I'm perfectly content getting by on the average while spending my free time on games and anime. I was talking about how I'm worried that you won't learn how to socialize or have any skills before college. Ouch. Honesty's the best policy, right, Sayori? Damn. Your happiness is really important to me, you know? Oh, okay, that was nice. I know you're happy now, but I die at the thought of you becoming a NEET in a few years because you're not used to the real world. You trust me, right? Don't make me keep worrying about you. Alright, alright. I'll look at a few clubs if it makes you happy. No promises, though. Will you at least promise me you'll try a little? Yeah, I guess I'll promise you that. Yay! Why do I let myself get lectured by such a carefree girl? More than that, I'm surprised I even let myself relent to her. I guess seeing her worry so much about me makes me want to ease her mind at least a little bit, even if she does exaggerate everything inside of her head. The school day is as ordinary as ever, and it's over before I know it. After I pack up my things, I stare blankly at the wall, looking for an ounce of motivation. Clubs. Sayori wants me to check out some clubs. Guess I have no choice but to start with the anime club. Hello? Sayori? Sayori must have come into classroom while I was spacing out. I look around and realize I'm the only one left in the classroom. I thought I'd catch you coming out of the classroom, but I saw you just sitting here and spacing out, so I came in. Honestly, you're even worse than me sometimes. I'm impressed. You don't need to wait up for me if it's gonna make you late to your own club. Well, I thought you might need some encouragement. So I thought, you know... Know what? Well, that you could come to my club. Sayori. Yeah? There is no way I'm going to your club. What a dick, dude. Just go to her club for like a day. Meanie. Sayori is vice president of the literature club. I guess I could pick up a book. Not that I was ever aware that she had any interest in literature. In fact, I'm 99% sure she only did it because she thought it would be fun to help start a new club. Since she was the first one to show interest after the one who proposed the club, she inherited the title Vice President. That said, my interest in literature is guaranteed to be even less. Yeah, I'm going to the anime club. Come on, please? Why do you care so much anyway? Well, I kind of told the club yesterday I would bring in a new member. And Natsuki made cupcakes and everything. Don't make promises you can't keep. I can't tell if Sayori is really that much of an airhead, or if she's so cunning as to have planned this all out. I let out a long sigh. Fine. I'll stop by for a cupcake, okay? Yes! Let's go! And thus, Today marks the day I sold my soul for a cupcake. I dejectedly follow Sayori across the school and upstairs, a section of the school I rarely visit. Sayori, full of energy, swings open the classroom door. Everyone, the new member is here! I told you, don't call me new member. Huh? I glance around the room. Welcome to the Literature Club. It's a pleasure meeting you. Sayori always says nice things about you. Seriously? You brought a boy? Way to kill the atmosphere. Forgot Sleepoo. Ah, Sleepoo, what a nice surprise. Welcome to the club. All words escape me in this situation. This club is full of incredibly cute girls. What are you looking at? If you want to say something, say it. Sorry. Natsuki. The girl with the sour attitude, whose name is apparently Natsuki, is one I don't recognize. Her small figure makes her look like a first-year student. She's also the one who made cupcakes, according to Sayori. You can just ignore her when she gets moody. Sayori says that quietly into my ear, then turns back towards the other girls. Anyway, this is Natsuki, always full of energy. And this is Yuri, the smartest in the club. Don't say things like that. Yuri, who appears comparably more mature and timid, seems to have a hard time keeping up with people like Sayori and Natsuki. Ah, well, it's nice to meet both of you. It sounds like you already know Monika, is that right? That's right. It's great to see you again, Sleepoo. Monika smiles sweetly. We do know each other. Well, we rarely talked, but we were in the same class last year. Monika was probably the most popular girl in class. Smart, beautiful, athletic. Basically completely out of my league. So, having her smile at me so genuinely feels a little... You too, Monika. Come sit down, Sleepoo. We made room for you at the table so you can sit next to me or Monika. I'll get the cupcakes. Hey, I made them. I'll get them. Sorry, I got a little too excited. Then, how about I make some tea as well? The girls have a few desks arranged to form a table. As Sayori mentioned, it's been widened so that there is one space next to Monika and one space next to Sayori. Natsuki and Yuri walk over to the corner of the room, where Natsuki grabs a wrapped tray and Yuri opens the closet. Still feeling awkward, I take a seat next to Sayori. Natsuki proudly marches back to the table, tray in hand. Okay! Are you ready? Ta-da! Whoa! Natsuki lifts the foil off the tray to reveal a dozen white, fluffy cupcakes, decorated to look like little cats. The whiskers are drawn with icing, and little pieces of chocolate were used to make ears. Oh my god, you know what this just reminded me of? A lot of you don't know this, but when I first did my playthrough of Doki Doki Literature Club, and we talked about these cat cupcakes, I did make a promise that if I ever, got big on Twitch somehow, I would do a cooking stream, or baking stream, where I made cat-shaped cupcakes, just like this. So I'm just saying, if it ever happens, expect, I can move my little view right down a little. Expect cupcake stream. Meow. There we go, that's better. I'm so tiny next to Sayori. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Sorry. Mommy? Mommy? Sorry. Okay, I'm done being stupid. So cute! I had no idea you were so good at baking, Natsuki. Well, you know. Just hurry and take one. Sayori grabs one first, then Monica. I follow. It's delicious! Sayori talks with her mouth full and has already managed to get icing on her face. I turn the cupcake around in my fingers, looking for the best angle to take a bite. Natsuki is quiet. I can't help but notice her sneaking glances in my direction. Is she waiting for me to take a bite? I finally bite down. The icing is sweet and full of flavor. I wonder if she made it herself. This is really good. Thank you, Natsuki. But why are you thanking me? It's not like I... Haven't I heard this somewhere before? Have I? Made them for you or anything. Huh? I thought you technically did. Sayori said, well, maybe. But not for, you, dummy. Alright, alright. I give up on Natsuki's weird logic and dismiss the conversation. Yuri returns to the table, carrying a tea set. She carefully places a teacup in front of each of us before setting down the teapot next to the cupcake tray. You keep a whole tea set in this classroom? I would love to have a tea party. Is that weird? Guys, we need to have a tea party sometime soon. Don't worry, the teachers give us permission. After all, doesn't a hot cup of tea help you enjoy a good book? I guess. Don't let yourself get intimidated. Yuri's just trying to impress you. That's not... Insulted, Yuri looks away. I meant that, you know. I believe you. Well, tea and reading might not be a pastime for me, but I at least enjoy tea. I'm glad. Yuri faintly smiles to herself in relief. Monica raises an eyebrow and smiles at me. So, what made you consider the literature club? I was afraid of this question. Something tells me I shouldn't tell Monica that I was practically dragged here by Sayori. Well, I haven't joined any clubs yet, and Sayori seemed really happy here, so... That's okay, don't be embarrassed. We'll make sure you feel right at home, okay? As president of the literature club, it's my duty to make the club fun and exciting for everyone. Monica, I'm surprised. How come you decided to start your own club? You could probably be a board member for any of the major clubs. Weren't you a leader of the debate club last year? Well, you know. To be honest, I can't stand all of the politics around major clubs. It feels like nothing but arguing about the budget and publicity and how to prepare for events. I'd much rather take something I personally enjoy and make something special out of it. And if it encourages others to get into literature, then I'm fulfilling that dream. Monica really is a great leader. Yuri also nods in agreement. Then, I'm surprised there aren't more people in the club yet. It must be hard to start a new club. You could put it that way. Not many people are very interested in putting out all the effort to start something brand new, especially when it's something that doesn't grab your attention like literature. You have to work hard to convince people that you're both fun and worthwhile. But it makes school events, like the festival, that much more important. I'm confident that we can really grow this club before we graduate. Right, everyone? Yeah! We'll do our best. You know it! Everyone enthusiastically agrees. Such different girls, all interested in the same goal. Monica must have worked really hard just to find these three. Maybe that's why they were so delighted by the idea of a new member joining. Though, I still don't really know if I can keep up with their level of enthusiasm about literature. So, Sleepy, what kind of things do you like to read? Well, considering how little I've read these past few years, I I don't really have a good way of answering that. Manga? I mutter quietly to myself, half joking. Natsuki's head suddenly perks up. It looks like she wants to say something, but she keeps quiet. Not much of a reader, I guess. Well, that can change. Anything for you, baby girl. What am I saying? I spoke without thinking after seeing Yuri's sad smile. Anyway, what about you, Yuri? Well, let's see. Yuri traces the rim of her teacup with her finger. My favorites are usually novels that build deep and complex fantasy worlds. The level of creativity and craftsmanship behind them is amazing to me. And telling a good story in such a foreign world is equally impressive. Yuri goes on, clearly passionate about her reading. She seems so reserved and timid since the moment I walked in, but it's obvious by the way her eyes light up that she finds her comfort in the world of books, not people. But, you know, I like a lot of things. Stories with deep psychological elements usually immerse me as well. Isn't it amazing how a writer can so deliberately take advantage of your own lack of imagination to completely throw you for a loop? Anyway, I've been reading a lot of horror lately. Ah, I read a horror book once. I desperately grasped something I can relate to at the minimal level. At this rate, Yuri might as well be having a conversation with a rock. Really? I wouldn't have expected that, Yuri. For someone as gentle as you. I guess you could say that. But if a story makes me think or takes me to another world, then I really can't put it down. Surreal horror is often very successful at changing the way you look at the world, if only for a brief moment. Ugh, I hate horror. Is that her nipples? Just... Not that I'm looking, but like, that looks like highlights to emphasize nip-nops. Oh? Why is that? Well, I just... Natsuki's eyes dart over to me for a split second. Never mind. That's right. You usually like to write about cute things, don't you, Natsuki? What? What gives you that idea? You left a piece of scrap paper behind last club meeting. It looked like you were working on a poem called... Don't say it out loud! God, Monika's kind of exposing her here. Give that back! Fine. Your cupcakes, your poems. Everything you do is just as cute as you are. Sayori sidles up behind Natsuki and puts her hands on her shoulders. I'm not cute! Natsuki, you write your own poems? Well, I guess sometimes. Why do you care? I think that's impressive. Why don't you share them sometime? No! Natsuki averts her eyes. You wouldn't like them. Not a very confident writer yet? I understand how Natsuki feels. Sharing that level of writing takes more than just confidence. The truest form of writing is writing to oneself. You must be willing to open up to your readers, exposing your vulnerabilities and showing even the deepest reaches of your heart. Do you have writing experience too, Yuri? Maybe if you share some of your work, you can set an example and help Natsuki feel comfortable enough to share hers. I guess it's the same for Yuri. Aw, I wanted to read everyone's poems. We all sit in silence for a moment. Okay, I have an idea, everyone. Natsuki and Yuri look quizzically at Monika. Let's all go home and write a poem of our own. Then, next time we meet, we'll all share them with each other. That way, everyone is even. Yeah, let's do it! Plus, now that we even remember, I think it will help us all get a little more comfortable with each other and strengthen the bond of the club. Isn't that right, Sleepoo? Monica smiles warmly at me once again. Hold on, there's still one problem. Huh? What's that? Now that we're back to the original topic of me joining the club, I bluntly come forth with what's been on my mind this entire time. I never said I would join this club. Sayori may have convinced me to stop by, but I never made any decision. I still have other clubs to look at, and, I lose my train of thought. All 4 girls stare back at me with dejected eyes. But... I'm sorry, I thought... Sleepy? You all... I'm defenseless against these girls. How am I supposed to make a clear-headed decision when it's like this? That is, if writing poems is the price I need to pay in order to spend every day with these beautiful girls... Right. Okay, I've decided then. I'll join the literature club. One by one, the girls' eyes light up. Yes! I'm so happy! Sayori wraps her arms around me, jumping up and down. Hey! You really did scare me for a moment. If you really just came for the cupcakes, I would be super pissed. Then, that makes it official. Welcome to the literature club. Thanks, I guess. Okay, everyone. I think with that, we can officially end today's meeting on a good note. Everyone remember tonight's assignment. Write a poem to bring to the next meeting so we can all share. Monica looks over at me once more. Sleepy, I look forward to seeing how you express yourself. Yeah. Can I really impress the class star Monica with my mediocre writing skills? I already feel the anxiety welling up inside me. Meanwhile, the girls continue to chit-chat as Yuri and Natsuki clean up their food. Hey Sleepy, since we're already here, do you want to walk home together? That's right. Sayori and I never walk home together anymore because she's always stayed after school for clubs. Sure, might as well. Yay! With that, the 2 of us depart the club room and make our way home. The whole way, my mind wanders back and forth between the 4 girls. Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, of course Monica. Will I really be happy spending every day after school in a literature club? Perhaps I'll have the chance to grow closer to one of these girls. Alright, I'll just need to make the most of my circumstances, and I'm sure good fortune will find me. And I guess that starts with writing a poem tonight. Ooh. It's time to write a poem. Pick words you think your favorite club member will like. Something good might happen with whoever likes your poem the most. Okay, if you didn't get to see my last Doki Doki Literature stream playthrough, you will not know this, but Sayori is my beloved. I fucking love Sayori. She's my favorite. So let's try to get some Sayori vibes up in here. Okay, what feels like Sayori? Peaceful. Yes! Excitement. Ooh, Valentine. Lollipop. Pot. Feather. Lust. I don't know what entropy means. Marriage. Smile. Climax. I'm so sorry. That was an impulsive decision. It just came out of me. I'm so sorry. Rose. Dazzle. Laugh. Strawberry. Explode. Heart. Happiness. Boop. Vanilla. Email? I don't know if I got more Natsuki or Sayori on that one. I honestly don't know. Hi again, Sleepoo. Glad to see you didn't run away on us. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but I at least keep my word. Well, I'm back at the Literature Club. I was the last to come in, so everybody else is already hanging out. Thanks for keeping your promise, Sleepoo. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you. Making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it. Oh, come on, like he deserves any slack. Sayori told me you didn't even want to join any clubs this year. And last year, too. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what, but if you don't take us seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for someone who keeps her manga collection in the club room. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying Monica and manga. Manga is literature! Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. Don't worry, guys. Sleepy always gives it his best as long as he's having fun. He helps me with busy work without me even asking. Like cooking, cleaning my room. How dependable. Sayori, that's because your room is so messy it's distracting. And you almost set your house on fire once. Okay, me. Is that so? You two are really good friends, aren't you? I might be a little jealous. How come? You and Sleepy can become good friends too. Sayori. What? Is it because I'm a boy? It's because I have a big fat cock? You're shy? You're shyer on my big fat cock? As usual, Sayori seems oblivious to the weird situation she's put me into. I feel like I'm Sayori right now because I have no idea why she's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Playing with my hair, ooh, ooh, shy fingers. Oh, Yuri even brought you something today, you know? Wait, Sayori. Huh? Me? Not really. Don't be shy. It's really nothing. What is it? Never mind. Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. What do I do? Huh? I'm sorry, Yuri. I wasn't thinking. I guess that means it's up to me to rescue this situation. Hey, don't worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place, so any nice gesture from you is a pleasant surprise. It'll make me happy no matter what. Is that so? Yeah, I won't make it a big deal if you don't want it to be. Alright. Well, here. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out. So I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention even if you don't usually read. And we could, you know, discuss it if you wanted. This is... How is this girl accidentally being so cute? She even picked out a book she thinks I'll like, despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Phew. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think. Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick off some scheduled activities for the club. But... Oh, I was wondering what that sound was. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Sayori and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. Man, looks like no one wants to be bothered today. I slumped down into the nearest desk. How am I supposed to occupy myself with something literature-related by myself like this? I guess I could always read some of the book Yuri gave me. But I'm feeling a little too tired to read. I could probably fall asleep right now. I closed my eyes and ended up listening on Sayori's conversation with Monika. We're probably gonna seem really lame compared to all the other clubs, though. Well, we can't give up. The festival's our chance to show everyone what literature is about. The problem is that the idea of literature club sounds too dense and intellectual. But it's not like that at all, you know? We just need a way of showing that to everyone. Something that speaks to their creative minds. That doesn't solve the problem, though. Eh? What do you mean? Even if we come up with the most fun thing ever, nobody will come in the first place if it's a literature event. So it's more important to figure out how to get people to show up in the first place, you know? And after they come, we can do the things to speak to their creative minds. What's this? Sayori's taking this really seriously. It's rare to hear her deliberating like this. Huh. That's a good point. In that case, do you think food will do the trick? What kind? Oh, well, I guess we could... Cupcakes! Good thinking. Natsuki would love to do that. Ah, you're right! Natsuki makes the best cupcakes. That works out perfectly. That wasn't why you suggested it? Cupcakes speak to my creative tummy. Cupcakes it is then. I'm hungry. I feel like I really am Sayori, aren't I? Anyway, we still need to work out the details of the event itself. I find myself smiling. In the end, Sayori is still her usual self. But therein lies the unexpected reason I admire her. Unlike me, who has trouble finding any motivation at all, Sayori can put her mind to things and make them come to life. I suppose that's why I end up letting her get on my case about things. I can't help but wonder what it would be like to see the world through her eyes. Look! What? I open my eyes to find Sayori's face filling my vision. I nearly fall out of my chair. Sorry. Wait, actually, I'm not sorry at all. It's your fault for sleeping like that. This isn't the napping club. Does our school have a napping club? You're staying up late again, aren't you? Now that you're in a club, you're gonna have less time for anime, you know? You'll need to get used to it. Don't say that so loud. I glanced over my shoulder to see if Monika heard. It's true, though. Yeah. I know. You're always looking out for me, Sayori. It's what I do best. That's a problem. What about you? You look out for me better than you look out for yourself. You're still oversleeping every day, aren't you? Not every day. That's not very convincing. How many days this past week have you gotten up on time? It's a secret. I knew it. Come on. At least give me the benefit of the doubt. I can't even do that. Look, Sayori, it's written all over you. Huh? Sayori glances around at herself. How is it written all over me? You were clearly in a rush this morning. Look, your hair is sticking out all around here. Dude! I run my fingertips down the side of Sayori's hair, trying to straighten it out. Man, you really need a brush for this. Okay, dick. My hair's just really hard to get right. I won't fall for that. There's more than just your hair. Look, your bow isn't straight either. And there's a toothpaste stain on your collar right here. Whatever happened to not, like, mentioning things that people can't fix in, like, 5 minutes? Seconds? I don't know. What's the rule? I feel like we're being kind of rude right now. I try to wipe the stain off with my finger. But nobody would ever notice that. Of course they would. Nobody's gonna tell you about it because they don't want to embarrass you. Fortunately, I really don't care about that. Hey, you meanie. And you don't even keep your blazer buttoned up. Seriously, Sayori. Why do you think you don't have a boyfriend yet? Damn! He went hard. That's fucked up. She's so nice. Be nicer to her. That's super mean. Sorry, but you'll thank me later. I don't know that that's the case. I start to button her blazer from the bottom. Once you see how much better it looks, you'll change your mind. Ooh. I'm sorry, I'm admiring right now. This is so funny. What is? Well, I was just thinking how weird it is to have a friend who does these kinds of things. Huh? Just don't say that. You'll make me feel weird about it, stupid. It's okay, though. I'm happy we're like this. Aren't you? Oh, I guess. Hey, be careful. The button might come off. Why is this one so hard to close? I struggle to fully close the button near her chest, cause she's got bazonkers, mommy milkers, big giant jugs, 2 of them. Oh, they're huge. Does this thing even fit you properly? It did when I bought it. If you ever buttoned it, you would have noticed sooner that it doesn't fit you anymore. What are you smiling about? He means my boobs got bigger again. Hell yeah. Don't say that out loud. No, she's right. Preach it, girl. Boobers. Anyway. You look much better now, so... Ah. Why does it feel strange to see Sayori's blazer buttoned up like that? But it's so stuffy. It's not worth it at all. Sayori hastily unbuttons her blazer once more. Phew! That's so much better. Sayori puts her arms out and twirls around. So if I keep it unbuttoned, then I won't get a boyfriend, right? What kind of logic is that? And why are you saying that like it's a good thing? Because if I had a boyfriend, then he wouldn't even let you do things like this. And you take care of me better than anyone else would anyway. She's so cute. So that's why I'm keeping it unbuttoned. Stop saying all these embarrassing things. Huh? I didn't say anything embarrassing. Jeez. Well, anyway, just focus on trying to wake up a little earlier. Only if you focus on going to bed earlier. Fine, fine. It's a deal. I guess we really are better at taking care of each other than we are at taking care of ourselves. Yeah, I guess so, huh? So, maybe you should come wake me up in the morning. You're doing it again, Sayori. Aw, but I was joking that time. Man, it's impossible to tell with you sometimes. Okay, everyone. Huh? Monica suddenly calls out. Why don't we share the poems we wrote now? Yay! Sleepy, I can't wait to read yours. Yeah, same. I failed to sound enthusiastic, but Sayori still trots away to retrieve her poem. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I couldn't really find much inspiration, since I've never really done this before. Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monika enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monika wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monika's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Who should I show my poem to first? Well, let's just go down the line. Let's start with Sayori, because I love her, she's my wife, and then we can go to Natsuki because I think she'll like it, and then you go down. I'm definitely most comfortable sharing it with Sayori first. She's my good friend, after all. Sorry. Oh my goodness! This is so good, Sleepoo! Huh? I love it! I had no idea you were such a good writer! Sayori, you must be seriously overreacting. I'm not a good writer at all. I honestly have no idea what I'm doing. Well, maybe that's why. Because I have no idea what I like either. Jeez. I'm sure Yuri's opinion has to be a little more constructive than this. Maybe even Natsuki's. Are you sure you don't like it just because I wrote it? Huh? Well, I'm sure that's part of it. I think I understand you better than a lot of people, you know? So, when I read your poem, it's not just a poem. It's a Sleepoo poem. And that makes it feel extra special. Like I can feel your feelings in it. Sayori hugs the sheet against her chest. You're so weird, Sayori. I'm really happy just that you wrote one. Just reminds me of how you're really a part of the club now. Not to mention the fact that I'm standing in front of you in the club room. Well, of course. I'm not really into it yet, but that doesn't mean I'll break my promise. See? It's like I said before, Sleepoo. Deep down, you're not selfish at all, you know? Trying new things like this for other people, that's something only really good people do. Thanks, Sayori. I'm not sure if Sayori sees the full picture of my motive here. Then again, I can't deny that she's part of the reason I joined. Knowing how much this means to her and all. Yeah. And I'm gonna make sure you have lots of fun here, okay? That'll be my way of thanking you. Alright, I'm gonna hold you to that then. Yay! Now you'll read my poem too, right? Don't worry, I'm really bad at this. We'll see about that. Oh, okay. Dear sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning makes me feel like you missed me. Kissing my forehead to help me out of bed, making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Oh my god, she put my name in her poem? That's so romantic! Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day? I look above, the sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I could sleep forever. But I'm not mad. I want breakfast. Sayori. This is just a guess, but did you wait until this morning to write this? No. Just a little bit. You can't answer just a little bit to a yes or no question. I forgot to do it last night. Well, at least that makes me feel a little better about myself. Don't be mean. I still tried my best. Ah, yeah. I didn't mean to say that it was a bad poem. It came out nice, or how should I put it? It sounds just like you. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. And of course, right when I say that, it goes away. That's awful. Really? Yeah. Especially that last line. I made eggs and toast. Even though you were late to school? It's bound to skip breakfast. True, always eat your breakfast. I get all cranky. Well, I guess there's no point in arguing. Anyway, thanks for showing me. This was so much fun. Monica's the best. Yeah. But next time, I won't forget. And I'm gonna write the best poem ever. Well, I guess I'll look forward to it. Who should I show my poem to next? Let's go with Miss Natsuki. What are you up to, cute little thing? What do you think? Well, it's about what I expected from someone like you. That's a little blunt. Well, excuse me. It's not like I said it was bad. It just didn't evoke any emotions. So basically it's not cute enough for your tastes? Do you want to get smacked? I'll pass. Or sigh. Well, anyway, I guess I need to show you mine. Not that you'll like it. Eagles can fly. Monkeys can climb. Crickets can leap. Horses can race. Owls can seek. Cheetahs can run. Eagles can fly. People can try, but that's about it. I like it. Yeah. I told you that you weren't gonna like it. I do like it. I think it's cute. I like it. What? Just be honest. I am. Why are you so convinced that I wouldn't like it? Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff. So people don't even take my writing seriously. But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yes, exactly! I like when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem. Seeing everyone around you do great things can be really disheartening. So I decided to write about it. Yeah, I understand. But the other nice thing about simple writing is that it puts more weight onto the wordplay. Like, I set up for a rhyme at the end, but then made it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line. So you did. See, that's what I like about it. I like that it goes from simple, just something about animals, unexpected, boom, deep message. I guess more went into it than I realized. That's what it means to be a pro! I'm glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you? Yeah, guess not. I decided to humor her with that last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki is feeling proud, then I won't take that away from her. Hello, Miss Yuri. Yuri stares at the poem. A minute passes. More than enough time for her to finish reading. Oh no. Oh. Sorry. I forgot to start speaking. It's fine. Don't force yourself. I'm not. I just need to put my thoughts into words. Hold on. Okay. This is your first time writing a poem, right? Yeah. Why do you ask? I'm just making sure. I guess that it might be after reading through it. Okay, damn. I don't know if I should take offense to that or not. Ah, so it's that bad. Damn. No. Did I just raise my voice? I'm so sorry. Yuri buries her face in her hands. I couldn't help but notice that it's been several minutes and we really haven't gotten anywhere. It might take,
It might take Yuri a while to get used to new people. It's fine, I really didn't notice. What were you saying? Right. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think that the most noticeable thing that I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form-fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little biased, though. Biased? How? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily, as if that's a rare opportunity for her. Which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Ghost under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one. The last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe. Calm, breathing air of the present but living in the past. The light flickers. I flicker back.
Is it about, like, living mentally in the past? I think I'm a literary expert.
I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting.
What? I wasn't thinking that at all.
But it took you a long time to read.
Oh, girl, I'm just stupid. It's not your fault. Well, I just don't read script very often. That's true. I actually don't even know how to write. Wait, is that cursive? I don't know how to write cursive. I actually think your handwriting is pretty. Huh?
That's a relief.
Also, I liked the poem. Even though it was short, it was really descriptive.
It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems.
Not at all.
I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest, since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose.
Are you into ghosts, Yuri?
Hoo-hoo. Actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Sleepy.
Really? I must have totally missed the point.
Well, I suppose you did only glance over it at all, after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost. Lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past. And soon to be left with nothing.
That's a lot more solid putting it that way. Yuri's voice makes me yawn. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive.
It's nothing, really. Well, it makes me happy that you think that. Just remember that it won't be long before you pick up on these things too.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I guess I'll have to keep trying.
I'm counting on you.
Thanks, Yuri. Now for the grand finale, Miss Monica. What do you think, my queen?
Hi, Sleepy. Having a good time so far?
Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay?
Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in.
Anyway, want to share your poem with me?
It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to.
Don't worry, Sleepy. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon.
Yeah, that's true. I hand Monica my poem.
I like this one. It makes me think of something Sayori would like.
Yes! Fuck, yes! Is that so?
You and Sayori are really good friends, right? I wouldn't be surprised if you had those sorts of things in common.
Ah, well... We may be good friends, but Sayori and I are actually really different.
Well, that may be the case. But maybe there are also some similarities that you wouldn't expect. The way she talks about you... It sounds like the two of you really care about each other's well-being. Even if you show it in different ways, it ends up being more similar than you'd think. So, I think that's the kind of vibe I get when reading your poem.
You sure you're not reading into it too much?
I could be.
Oh gosh, I sound like Yuri.
But in any case, Sayori's writing has a kind of gentle feel to it. I can tell that she likes exploring with emotions, like happiness and sadness. Who knew that someone so happy would enjoy sad things too?
Yeah, that's totally unexpected.
Well, to each their own. You shouldn't be afraid to experiment a little bit either.
I'm sure I'll end up trying different things a lot. Could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this.
That's okay. I'd love to see you try new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everyone else might be a little bit biased towards their own kinds of styles, but I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants you to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything.
Ahaha, I think I might write to impress you next time, sexy. Trying a different style.
Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good.
You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good.
Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know?
I see. Well, let's read it then. Hole in wall.
It couldn't have been me. See the direction the spackle protrudes? A noisy neighbor? An angry boyfriend? I'll never know. I wasn't home. I peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel, blind like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late. My retinas, already scorched with a permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just a little hole. It wasn't too bright. It was too deep. Stretching forever into everything, a hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in. I was looking out. And he, on the other side, was looking in.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. I don't know what that means. So, what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. It's okay. Yeah, that kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. I don't know that I did it right. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful. I don't think I performed it correctly, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm sorry for being not super powerful with my words. What was the inspiration behind this one? Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone's better friends with each other. Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about this is, if you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening! Phew! I guess that's everyone. I glance around the room. That was a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's as if everyone's judging me for my mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're being nice, there's no way my poems can stand up to theirs. This is a literature club after all. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Sayori and Monica are happily chatting. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch each of their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly. What's with this language? Huh? Did you say something? Oh, it's nothing. Natsuki dismissively returns the poem to the desk with one hand. I guess you could say it's fancy. Thanks. Yours is cute. Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? It's clearly about the feeling of giving up. How could that be cute? I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. I was trying to say something nice. You mean you have to try that hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks, but it really didn't come out nice at all. Well, I do have a couple suggestions. If I was looking for suggestions, I would have asked someone who actually liked it. Which people did, by the way. Sayori liked it, and Sleepy did too. So based on that, I'll gladly give you some suggestions of my own. First of all, excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I've spent a long time establishing my writing style. I don't expect to change it anytime soon, unless of course I come across something particularly inspiring. Which I haven't yet. And Sleepy liked my poem too, you know? He even told me he was impressed by it. Natsuki suddenly stands up. Oh, I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress our new member, Yuri. That's not what I... You're just... Yuri stands up as well. Maybe you're just jealous that Sleepy appreciates my advice more than he appreciated yours. Huh? And How do you know he didn't appreciate my advice more? Are you that full of yourself? No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out of my way to make everything I do overly cutesy. Is everyone okay? Well, you know what? I was the one whose boobs magically grew a size bigger as soon as Sleepy started showing up. Natsuki! Natsuki, that's a little... This doesn't involve you! I don't like fighting, guys. Suddenly, both girls turned towards me as if they just noticed I was standing there. Sleepoo. She's just trying to make me look bad. That's not true! She started it! If she could get over herself and learn to appreciate that simple writing is more effective, then this wouldn't have happened in the first place. What's the point in making your poems all convoluted for no reason? The meaning should jump out at the reader, not force them to have to figure it out. Help me explain that to her, Sleepoo. Oh, wait. There's a reason we have so many deep and expressive words in our language. It's the only way to convey complex feelings and meaning the most effectively. Avoiding them is not only unnecessarily limiting yourself, it's just also a waste. You understand that, right, Sleepoo? Well? How did I get dragged into this in the first place? It's not like I know anything about writing. But whoever I agree with, they'll probably think more highly of me. So of course that's gonna be... Aw, man, I think they're both in the wrong, you know? Yuri's being kind of pretentious and Natsuki's being kind of instigating. Sayori, help! Natsuki... Natsuki glares at me, drying up any words I had in my mouth. So instead I turn to Yuri. Yuri... But Yuri's expression is so defenseless that I can't bring myself to say anything to her. Sayori! Eh? Yeah. Everyone's fighting is making Sayori uncomfortable. How can the two of you keep fighting when you know you're making your friend feel like this? Sleepoo. Well, that's her problem. This isn't about her. I agree. It's unfair for others to interject their own feelings into our conflict. Yeah, unless Sayori wants to tell Yuri what a stuck-up jerk she's being. She would never. It's your immaturity that's made her upset in the first place. Excuse me? Are you listening to yourself? This is exactly why nobody likes... Stop! Natsuki, Yuri, you guys are my friends. I just want everyone to get along and be happy. My friends are wonderful people, and I love them because of their differences. Natsuki's poems, they're amazing because they give you so many feelings with just a few words. And Yuri's poems are amazing because they paint beautiful pictures in your head. Everyone's so talented. So why are we fighting? Because... Well... Also, Natsuki's cute and there's nothing wrong with that. And Yuri's boobs are the same as they always were. Big and beautiful! That's so funny, I almost said that right before she did. Sayori. Sayori stands triumphantly. Monika stands behind her with a bewildered expression. I'll make some tea. Yuri rushes off. Natsuki sits down with a blank expression on her face, staring at nothing. So this is why Sayori is the vice president, I whisper to Monika. She nods in return. To be honest, I might come off as a good leader and I can organize things, but I'm not very good with people. I couldn't even bring myself to interject. As president, that's kind of embarrassing of me. Nah. It's not like I can blame you. I wasn't able to say anything either.
Well, I guess that just means Sayori is amazing in her own ways, isn't she?
You could say that. She might be an airhead, but sometimes it's weirdly suspicious that she knows exactly what she's doing.
I see. Take good care of her, okay?
I would hate to see her get herself hurt. That makes two of us. You can count on me. Monica smiles sweetly at me, causing my stomach to knot. Such a genuine person really does make a good president, regardless of what she says. If only I could get the chance to talk to her a little more.
Okay, everyone. It's just about time for us to leave. How did you all feel about sharing poems?
It was a lot of fun!
Well, I'd say it was worth it.
It was alright. Well, mostly.
Sleepy, how about you?
Yeah, I'd say the same. It was a neat thing to talk about with everyone.
Awesome. In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And maybe you'll learn something from your friends, too. So your poems will turn out even better.
I think to myself. I did learn a little more about the kinds of poems everyone likes. With any luck, that means I can at least do a better job impressing those I want to impress. I nod to myself with newfound determination. Sleepoo! Ready to walk home? Sure, let's go! Sayori beams at me. It truly has been a while since Sayori and I have spent this much time together. I can't really say I'm not enjoying it either. Sayori, about what happened earlier. Huh? What do you mean? You know, between Yuri and Natsuki. Does that kind of thing happen often? No. That's really the first time I've seen them fight like that. I promise, they're both wonderful people. You don't hate them, do you? No, I don't hate them. I just wanted your opinion, that's all. I can see why they'd make good friends of you. Where are you in game? We're actually in just the beginning. We just started about an hour and a half ago. So, end of the second day, we just finished reading our first poem.
Phew!
Oh gosh, okay. Oh, whoops! That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Sorry! My stream deck lagged out and had a moment. Sorry, El. You're through much more than I am. What part are you at right now? Have you done the first poem yet?
You know, Sleepoo, it's really nice that I get to spend time with you in the club. But I think seeing you get along with everyone else is what makes me the happiest. And I think everyone really likes you, too.
That's... Every day is gonna be so much fun. Oh... Sounds like Sayori still hasn't caught on to the kind of situation I'm in. I have a massive raging boner. All the time. I was at the start of the first poem. Gotcha. Okay. So we're a little bit further than that, yeah. Sure, being friends with everyone is nice, but does it really need to stop there? Can I have 4 cute anime bitches in my phone? Hell yeah. We'll just have to see what the future holds, Sayori. I pat Sayori on the shoulder. Pat, pat. Pat, pat. I said that more to myself than to her, but it's easy to use Sayori as an internal monologue sometimes. Okay! Yeah. Let's do this. Alright, my friends. Should we finish this poem and then move on to the next episode? Let's finish this poem. Let's finish this poem and then we can end stream for tonight because it was supposed to be a short one because I work in the morning, but okay, so we catered to Sayori. Oh, I guess we can't cater to Monica, can we? Well, we catered to Sayori last time. I wanted to stream last night, but forgot to take me mask. Ooh, what kind of mask do you wear? That's sick. I've thought about wearing a mask. I guess that's what the point of the mask is, right? So stupid. Yuri just seems I'm not a huge fan of Yuri, other than her big, massive mommy milker gazongers. Not a huge fan of her. It's Ocean. Cheeks. I'm just gonna pick my favorite words. Marshmallow. Sparkle. Starscape. Alone. Comfort. I ain't showing my face yet. That's chill. I'm not either. Well, I guess I technically am. I'm showing my VTuber face. Ayo. Embrace. A heartbeat. Shh. Boop. I feel like I have to choose boop every time it comes up. Like, I don't have another choice. It's just always boop. Beauty. Nibble. Because it sounds like nibble. Kawaii. Giggle. Aura. Flower. Achievement unlocked. Doki Doki Poetry Slam. Yes! Romance. Strawberry. I really want strawberries. I think after the stream I'm gonna get strawberries. So do you have plus or normal DDLC? So I've actually played normal DDLC in the past. That was one of my first playthroughs, but I did just repurchase to get plus. So we're playing plus this time. I'm very excited about all the new content. I'm a little salty because when I first played Doki Doki Literature Club, I finished my playthrough and then not long after that's when they came out with plus. I was like, damn it. But I'm playing it now and it's okay. Heart. Laugh. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna save. I think it auto saved here, but I'll save just in case. Save. Turn. How the fuck do I leave? How the fuck do I leave? Exit DLC. Yes, I do. Thank you. See, this is the really cool, weird, like, desktop, like, exit thing that it has now. It is 12:30 in the morning. And I have to be up in a few hours for work. That's my own damn fault for forgetting to stream last night. Normal DDLC was free on Steam, so I got it. Okay, see, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure DDLC was not originally free. I think they made it free after they came out with Plus, so I'm a little salty because I'm pretty sure I paid for both regular DDLC and Plus, but that's my fault for not having foresight, I suppose. For not having the foresight. Alright, here we are. Okay, thank you so much, everyone who came to hang out with me on stream tonight. I know it's different from my normal day. I'm sorry for forgetting. I promise I'll remember next Thursday. I'm gonna set like a reminder so I don't forget. Again, I just need to get it adjusted to my new schedule. Thank you for the follow! How do you want me to pronounce your name? Is it Dirty Dude? Do you want me to call you Dude? Is that cool? That's gonna be it for me today, though. I appreciate everyone hanging out. I'll be here. I stream every Thursday, 11:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That might be a little bit earlier in the future, but I'm not positive. Well, I don't know yet. If I change my schedule, I'll let you guys know on Instagram and or Twitter. So let me put my socials in chat. ! Socials. Instagram YnisSleepy, Twitter is YnisSleepy, YouTube is YnisSleepy VODs. any questions or like to keep up with me when I do bonus streams, change stuff, that's where you'll find me. Dr. Ty, dude. Gotcha. Should I call you... Oh! I get it now. Okay. Should I call you Doctor? Or should I just... Dr. Ty, dude? Like, full name? I don't know. Some people have preferences. Some people don't. Felt like there was something else important to say, but I forgot. So if I remember, I'll let you know on the socials. But I appreciate everyone so much for hanging out today.